I'd like to call our June 4th, 2026 Roanoke County School Board work session to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll? It's echoing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You think we're good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Item 2.01, major construction project updates. Mr. Todd Kegels.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as usual, we have Kamal Khalil and Eric Burkholder from Skanska to do our major construction project updates. Eric? Okay. Yep. We're hooked up the same way we're always hooked up. Are we on the right input, Chuck? I did. I unplugged and plugged back in.
Hold your mouth right.
That's why you're on PC screen only. Duplicate.
There.
Thank you. Never had to do that before, but thank you. My apologies to Chuck. Appreciate him getting that on for us. All right, here.
So at CTE, sorry. Since we last updated on the site work, they finished setting all the light poles in the parking lot. They graded the northeast pond. It's no longer a pond, it's actually landscaped now. Continued working on the Peters Creek sidewalk. They're continuing the programming on the signal lights down on Peters Creek, and they started doing the landscape phase 1. And Harley raking some of the stones out of the topsoil that are in the islands. Area D construction, they installed a dust collector in the building trades lab and includes ductwork. They continue doing the final painting and glazing windows, and we've started a final punch list. And if you don't know what a punch list is, that's where we go through and pick out all the little fine details. Branches went through and done theirs, and now Skanska and Roanoke County Schools will go through and do ours. Area A, they completed the Trizo floor at the entrance. I have a pretty good picture of it. They're proceeding with the final painting in that area, installing interior doors and hardware, and also starting a punch list in that area. Areas B and C finished the lighting controls, installed cord reels, toilet accessories, fire extinguisher, cabinets. They're doing the testing and balancing of the system, the air system, and installed all the marker boards, casework. They did pass the above ceiling inspection, which is a crucial step, and they're installing acoustic ceiling tiles and casework again. So I tried to get some better pictures this time of like what the building is shaped up to be, besides just somebody there putting up a light for you. So if you see, there's the aerial photo. Branch was gracious enough to give me a copy of theirs. That's within the last 2 weeks because there's landscaping. You can see the trees along the roads. But that'll be the aerial view. The second picture is, of course, the front entrance. The back entrance, and then the vestibule when you come in. So there's the Trizo flooring. It'll be nice and cleaned up. That's the compass. We actually took a transit in there, and they shot it to true north as per the specifications. There's the stock kitchen. You see some of that ceiling tiles messed up. That'll be taken care of during the punch list, and if it's not been damaged, they have to pop it up when they're doing the testing and balancing of the air system. There's the reception at the main entrance. There's an example of your wash areas. Most of the wash areas have that color schematic. I labeled this one final paint in area B, but that's actually D. That's the building trades wing. And then of course there's the commons area. There's an example of one of the classrooms in area B, the EMT classroom and lab area. And then there's the welding shop. Anybody got any questions I could answer?
With that new
On-
traffic, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
With the new traffic pattern there on Peters Creek, people have asked me when that light traffic signal will go live.
Go live in September.
September.
That's dictated by
VDOT.
It has to be open to traffic, and legally you cannot just have that open while the school is not like 100%, almost 100% done.
Okay, thank you.
They call it a turn on. The turn on will be sometime in September.
Thank you.
Sure. Does that answer it?
It does.
Okay, as far as the school is concerned, we're doing really good. I mean, more than good. Especially if now the kids are out, and a branch had ramped up, and they brought more subs to finish the work. Phase A, like lower level, and the 2B upper level, Brian hired from the county movers, and we moved some of the stuff in there already. We're just gonna do the punch list pretty soon, probably next week. Start on it for the two phases. Outside work, we're doing the fence by the retaining wall. The lights are on in the parking lot. There's so much going on that it's hard to keep track of it. But I tried to put on the list what's going on now. And this information probably a little bit, couple of days old, maybe 3 days old. Outside, we're connecting the 8-inch water also in the back of the school. All of that area, if you've seen it in the back, it had crushed base for the dirt so people can go up all the way to the top. We're gonna clean all that. That's probably will be happening in the next 2 weeks. What else is going on? Landscaping, we might clean where they put the trees because they already did a trenching operation between the poles for the parking lot, and it doesn't look decent. So we'll clean that up and have them maybe reseeded and make it look nice. Also, I'm jumping around just because of the fact that some of the stuff is a little bit old. Outside work, like I said, it's pretty much ongoing in the back, and the lights are done. The fence for that retaining wall also being done right now. Inside, the only thing that we have left, I'm safe to say this, is the ceiling tiles. Can I go to the next one? Mm-hmm. As far as if I go back to the first one, kind of that big pile of dirt that we had in the back, stacked up all the way high. They're compacting that. They're removing that. Now it's about maybe 6, maybe 9 feet high, and it's all compacted. It's gonna look nice when they're done. As far as Glen Cove, the same thing. The 3A level downstairs and the 2B upper level, we have moved some of the stuff in there in the meantime because there's no school going on. There's no kids, which makes it a little bit easier. Also, we are working on the gym and the switchgear. The switchgear, we might switch to the new one in the next maybe 2 weeks. It's already been set up with the utility company. We need to get a confirmation from them. The block wall in the gym is done. The flooring is done. We took all the flooring out from the gym. And I'll show you maybe in the next picture or two. Landscaping, the same thing. We're gonna clean that up, and we'll be left with just the asphalt capping and the striping. if that makes sense, because at Conda we grind it, like we cold milled it, and we're gonna come and do the capping for the asphalt. The same thing will be happening here. For Conda, I'm showing like some paints. That's the final touches. But if you look on the right hand side, the panels missing, and the glass window, if you see it. The same on the left, like the ceiling panels are missing, but they should be done by now. Cabinets are delivered and mounted, and they look good. The flooring is being cleaned as we speak also. This is the back. They were painting that door. And if you look on the right hand side, I was trying to show the top hill. That's where Hubbard is doing the dirt removal and compacting it. And oops. Now for the Glen Cove, if you look at the first one is also the ceiling tile. It's not a lot of work left. In the gym area, like on the right hand side, they're doing the block and they're done with it now. Like I said, these pictures are probably 4 or 3 days old, and all that floor is gone. We took that out. Some of the stuff is being moved to these areas, to these rooms that been done, cleaned, floor waxed. In the back, we did the concrete for the generator and the transformers on both sides where the cooling tower is. This is the library section. It's an angled roof and with a skyline that you could see inside without like lighting. You could tell from the skylines. Any questions? I tried to get a better pictures, but I couldn't. I was jammed for time.
Well, speaking of time, I feel like you guys have operated at just an awesome pace. Like you've been rocking and rolling every time you come in.
You got to give it to the guys in the field. They're doing, like as soon as the school was out, they ramped up and they bring people to finish the job.
Everything I've looked at, the quality of the work has been excellent as well. So, yeah, please extend that to your employees. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? Okay.
Just a quick comment to say, most of the high schools have the tradition of the seniors going back to the elementary schools to do a walk around
Right.
before they graduate. Well, the principals at Cundiff and Glen Cove both reported that the kids came back, and this is a compliment, but they said, they don't recognize the place.
Yeah, well, that's good, I guess.
Not the school they went to.
Yeah.
Well, it was a dump. That's why they didn't. Now it's nice.
Okay. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item 2.02, RCCTC Solar Energy Review, Mr. Todd Kegels.
Madam Chair, members of the board.
Thank you. Take care.
From the beginning, in regards to RCCTC, solar energy had been part of the discussion. Actually, the original renderings of the building had solar panels on there, and we asked them to remove them because at the time we were not ready to move forward with that, and honestly, we didn't have the funding available to be able to do that. So to avoid sort of clouding any issues, we had those removed from the renderings and from the discussions really from that point forward. However, now we have reached a point where thanks to Skanska, our own fiscal discipline, and that of Branch, they are under budget on all 3 projects, and it appears that preliminary numbers, but it appears somewhere a little over $2 million is going to be returned to us. So we do have funding available should we choose to reinvest it back into solar energy for RCCTC. And the building is ready for it. It was designed to be solar ready from the beginning. We already have the conduit in place. We have the switchgear in place in the electrical room. The roof was designed to support the weight of the solar panels. So it is ready. To that end, we'd like to take a look at why solar and why now. Number one is to reduce the operating costs. This is an opportunity to take some capital that we have on hand, reinvest it in solar energy, and reduce the operating cost for the foreseeable future, for the next 25 to 35 years. Millions of dollars. We have with us this evening Armgan Aslam from 8M Solar. He's going to come over in just a second and give you a little bit more information about solar energy and some better idea of exactly how much savings we're talking about. But it is significant, and it's a way to reduce that year after year after year. And that operating cost is money that can go back to instructional personnel, teaching kids, doing all the things we're need to be doing other than paying for electricity. Another thing to take a look at is as soon as we started talking about this, Mr. Kish and Mr. Sir reached out to me and asked me would they have access to the production data from the solar array. And the answer to that is yes. They want to use that as a teaching tool where you can actually see what the panels are producing on a panel by panel level, cloudy days versus sunny days, and really teach about solar energy, how it works, and where are the advantages and the disadvantages of it. And again, one of the big reasons we can look at that now is because it looks like we're coming in under budget, and we do have that that large capital investment available, which we don't typically have as a school system. You don't typically have this system's going to run about $1.5 million, and we don't typically have that kind of capital to invest in large chunks. Now, so the why now piece and why this is so important between now and next Thursday. Federal tax incentives, or direct pay incentives in our case, since we don't file taxes, are expiring. The one big beautiful bill did away with some of the things that had been put in place by the previous administration, but there's a couple of ways that you can still qualify for a 30% rebate. And keep in mind, we're talking about close to $500,000 on the rebate. One is to, and this is our preferred method, is to get it under contract and to have paid 5% of the cost prior to July the 4th. Now that is a short window. Today is June the 4th. You all have to take action. Our attorneys have to approve the contracts. 8M Solar has to provide the contracts. Skanska has to vet it. And all of those signatures have to take place, and then and the billing has to all take place between July the 4th. Why that's important is because it gives us until 2030 to finish the system. Now, the idea would be to finish the system in about a year timeline, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depends on several things. If you don't hit the July 4th deadline, then there's still a way to qualify for the tax credits, but the system has to be in operation, totally completed and in operation by December 31st of 2027. Now, that's a year and, what are we talking, not even 18 months. Even though that's within the construction timeline in theory, there are too many uncontrollable variables there. There's, being close to the airport. You have to have special permissions to operate a crane from the FAA. You have to have interconnection agreements with AEP and all of their studies completed. There's too many, to my way of thinking, there are too many risks of that $500,000 to let that be the only way that we qualify. A much better solution would be to get all this done and in place before July 4th of this year, and make sure that we qualify under those guidelines. Armgard, if you would come on over. This is Armgan Aslam. He is from 8M Solar. We did publish an RFP, a request for proposals for a solar energy solution for RCCTC. You have their proposal. They were the contractor that was selected. We received 9 responses, and then the committee vetted those. Looked for things like mainly their qualifications, somebody we would feel comfortable with, investing this kind of money with. They're relatively local, located in Raleigh, and I'm going to take all your, I'll let you tell them about your company and what you guys are doing.
All right. Thank you, Todd. Good afternoon, folks. My name is Armgan Aslam. I'm the commercial business manager for 8M Solar. We are based in Raleigh, North Carolina. Before I talk about the company, just a quick background. I'm a finance major by education. Joined the company in 2020. Started off as an installer, and I was moved to site supervisor, and now I oversee the commercial department. It's been a good journey, and I look forward to continue it. Well, this came off. Just a quick history about AM Solar since this is our first time here. So we were founded in 2015. We have essentially two owners, and in less than 10 years, we are one of the largest EPC firms in North Carolina. And the reason for that, I would say, is that we have the design and the construction under one roof. So like I said, we have two owners, they're both the qualifiers. So both engineers by the education, so they review, approve, and stamp all the drawings. And then we have our in-house construction crews, we have certified project managers, installers. So we oversee every aspect of this project within our own company. We don't have a need to outsource any work. So that really sets us apart from the rest of the industry. In the last 10 years, we have deployed over 5,000 systems, and I'm very proud to say that at any given time, I would say about 98 to 99% of those systems are live at any given point. And the reason for that is that, like I said before, we have our in-house service teams as well. So we monitor every system that we install, and then if there's any issue with the system, we deploy our own service teams and try to get those systems back online as quickly as we can. I'll move on to the next one really quick. So this basically just talks about what I just mentioned. It's an in-house development. We have our own engineering team, so we can move rather quickly. We don't have to wait for a third party to stamp the drawings, make the drawings, and things of that nature. We're also a Chapter 87 firm. It just pertains to the exact same thing. In the next few slides, I'm just going to showcase some of the projects that I chose that are somewhat relative to the project that we are proposing right now, so we have a good idea of what the final product will look like. So this is actually our first utility scale project that we just completed in Mullins, South Carolina. It's 2.6 megawatts with close to 6,000 panels. This system went live April 2026 and is supposed to produce a little over 5 million kilowatt hours a year. I'm very excited to be a part of it. This is our first one. I'll move on to the next one really quick. This is a pharmaceutical company. It's a private client. It's bioMérieux based in Durham, 767 kWdc, close to 1,500 panels. This system went live in 2023, and on average, annual production is close to 841,000 kilowatt hours. This is a ballasted racking system. We are proposing something very similar for this system as well, meaning there will be no roof penetration. There's not a single penetration for the racking on this roof. This system has been working beautifully. It's with Duke Energy. Move on to the next one. This is with Wake Tech Community College, the general education building, relatively a smaller system. This is actually like their showcase system. They take the students up to the roof. They show them how the electricity works, how the panels work. We go through the monitoring portal and show, how much this system is producing and things of that nature. We'll quickly move on to the next one. This system is not live yet. It's under construction. Our scope of work is complete, but the school is still under construction at the moment. The Halifax PK8 School, Enfield, North Carolina. This is for this city, actually, this is the largest system that they have installed to this date. We don't have any production numbers because the system is not alive yet. I believe next one, which should be the last one. This is Wake County Public Health Building. We just finished this system. This system will go live in 2 weeks. So this is installed on a carport, and on the other side you can see it's a rooftop too. So it's essentially a single system installed in 2 different places. The general contractor for this project was Skanska. We have worked with Skanska on about, I think this is our 5th project with them. It's about like 1,300 panels. This is a Wake County project. We are located in Wake County, and this is our 22nd project with this county alone. So our commercial clientele really varies from like private clients to different cities, municipalities, counties, and things of that nature. Just a quick history of what we do and what we are capable of doing. I'll move on to the next slide. So now this pertains to this project itself. We are proposing a 800 kilowatt DC system with 720 kilowatt AC. The total project cost is a little over 1.5 million. The 30% tax credit that Todd was referring to comes out to be a little over 450K. And then we have the asterisk value incentive over 5 years, a little over 100,000. Then we have a 1-year O&M adder. It's optional. It's not required. So the net solar PV cost would be, after all the incentives are taken, a little over $1,000. This is just a preliminary layout that we have made so far. If this project goes through, we'll review the drawings again, and then we'll finalize the shop drawings, get them stamped, and send them over to you. We'll move on to the next part. So this is just basically a quick breakdown of what equipment we plan on using here. So we have about 1,345 Hyundai 595 panels. For the inverters, we are using 6 SolarEdge 120K inverters. Annual generation, we are expecting it to be a little over 1 million kilowatt hours. Per my knowledge, right now the estimated consumption is a little over 900,000. So this system in real life should offset 100% energy consumption of this building. As far as the racking structure is concerned, we are using panel claw FR5. Zero penetration is a flat roof system secured by the concrete ballasted blocks.
So, and if I could just interject here, no offense to you guys, but we did not just take their word for it. We actually got with the electrical engineers on the new building and had them review their proposal. And I was very pleased to see that they said the panels, the inverters, the racking system, it's exactly what we recommend. So I feel very confident about the work that these guys have already done and that it matches up with people who aren't trying to sell us anything. They're there to, protect their work that they've already done, and they've assured us that this is good quality stuff, and it's what we'd want to use.
I appreciate it.
And I heard correctly, they offset all the electrical costs.
Yeah, and I'll just say the reason that it says 114% instead of just shooting for 100% is that was the 100% estimate that we got from the engineers didn't take into account that the building would be used for adult ed and things like that in the evening. So we wanted to leave a sort of buffer there so that we could still hit that 100% target, even if we're using that an extra 5-6 hours every night.
And then you also have to account for the bad weather days as well. So in real life, it should roughly offset about 100% of it.
Yep, that's what we're shooting for.
Can you go back to the previous screen? What is that, the 1 year, this optional piece? Can you explain what that is?
The adders.
Sure. So sometimes the client asks us to get into a contract for the operations and maintenance. So let's just say throughout the course of the project, if something goes wrong, they don't have to reach out to somebody else. They will contact us. We will deploy our team, or whatever repairs are necessary, we will make them. Mm-hmm.
And that fee, and I'm assuming you're discussing the renewable energy credits. Is that part of the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so the system qualifies for renewable energy credits. So depending on the amount of electricity you get a certain number of renewable energy credits, and those are projected to bring in a revenue of about $25,000 a year, between $20,000 and $25,000. Mm-hmm. So things like that. Operation and maintenance adder. First of all, that's not really our intent. Our intent is to maintain it ourselves. I mean, we would like to get training and kind of learn how to do this in case we pursue it in other locations around the county. But if it made you more comfortable and you wanted to do that through 8M, those costs would be more than offset by the renewable energy credits, and that's every year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we also offer like a 2-year comprehensive warranty. So technically, you guys should not need an O&M contract for the first 2 years because everything will be covered by the work that we have done.
That's what I was going to ask. Does it come with an original warranty?
Yeah, he's gonna review some component warranties.
Gotcha.
Yes. Any,
Could there be additional costs to that 1 year operation and maintenance? Or does that cover, if you actually have to come, are there additional costs to that?
No, that will be a part of it. So we have accounted a certain number of trips a year, which we foresee like that should be more than enough. I mean, these systems don't really fail that often, but let's just say even if you have to make a few trips a year, this would be a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions before I move on to the next one? All right. Move on to the next one. So these are the savings that we are projecting at the moment based off of the 100% offset and the current rate structure that AEP has at the moment. So given the 100% offset, this number seems very reasonable to us. I believe this system should be able to achieve that. Happy to share any calculations, via email if you guys want to see how this was calculated.
So you're looking at about an 8-year payback,
Yes.
and we would own this, right? This is not any leasing or anything involved with any
No.
of that.
No, in fact, that was in our, I knew you guys weren't interested in that, so that
Yeah.
was in the RFP that we were specifically not interested in a PPA, that this would be 100% ownership model.
Yeah.
And panel life, 25 years expected?
Yes, so the product warranty of this panel is 12 years and the production guarantee is for a 30 years. So in solar industry, we consider the lifespan of a solar system to be at least 30 years. It can last way longer than that, but that should be the minimum.
And how long have y'all been in business?
A little over 10 years.
So we need you to be here 30 more, right?
We expect to be here.
Okay.
And these numbers are based on current AEP prices, correct?
Yes.
And I'll just point out too, because I was looking at how much AEP has raised energy costs in our area in the past 3 years. It's gone up by 12%. So let's just say that the next 3 years we see another 12% increase. Those numbers, then theoretically we'd be saving even more.
In a real life, yes, because Duke has done the same thing. They are increasing, I believe, by 18% over 10 years.
Yeah.
So yes, this is based off of what we see right now. So if you see at the bottom, it says based on the historic utility inflation of 2% annually. So we did account some of it, just not all of it, because we can't really foresee what's going to happen in year 15.
That's pretty conservative number for you.
Yes. All right, move on to the next slide. So this basically just speaks a little bit on the net metering policy of AEP. Me personally, I was not too knowledgeable about this, but I did some research and it seems like this is one of the last utilities left that still offer one-to-one net metering. Duke Energy used to do that, but now they have stopped. So basically one-to-one means that you will sell any excess energy back to the grid at the same rate that you're buying it at, right? So every month, at the end of the month, if there's any excess energy left, those credits will be rolled over to the next month, right? So in the summer times and the winter times, the solar production is not going to be the same. So in the months where you have consumed more, but the solar system has produced less, you will be able to use the credits from the previous months. So that's why your return on the investment is far attractive as compared to other schools that we have done. Yeah, because Duke does not do that. They will wipe out your credits at the end of every month. If there's any excess, they will give you credit, but less than half of the rate.
But AEP could change that at any time.
At any time, yeah. But if this solar system is installed, you're already a grandfathered into it, so your rate structure will not change. Yeah, but if they change their policies and if you install a system after that, then you will have to abide by the new rules and the regulations. Yes.
But they have to honor whatever it is when we sign up.
Yes. All right, so this is basically just a summary of what AEP is offering at this point. Any questions on the net metering policy that I can answer? All right. Move on to the next slide. So this, I mean, Todd has already spoken about this. This is just basically the timelines of the federal tax credit. Like Todd mentioned, any project that will start after July 4th, we have till December 31st, 2027 to complete the system and commission it and get it fully functional for the end client to claim the 30% tax credit. If you safe harbor the system by spending 5% before July 4th, that buys you till the end of 2030. So we just have to be mindful of these timelines if we were to proceed with this project. If we proceed after July 4th, there are certain risks that we cannot control because, and the biggest one would be the approval of the interconnection application from the utility because they work at their own pace. It could be done in 1 month or it could take them 6 months to give us the approval. We have seen both ends of it. So we just need to be mindful of that. The permits will take about like 30 to 45 days. So that's another like month and a half. A lot of the time is spent in the paperwork phase of it, right? The actual system itself is not that large. It's fairly simple. It's just a flat roof. We should be able to wrap everything up in about 2.5 months for the mechanical and the electrical. But just to get all the approvals for us to get to that point, that can take up to good 4 to 6 months alone. Any questions that I can answer on this slide? All right. Yeah, this is just a rough schedule that I put together. You know, the shop drawings can take up to 4 weeks. The interconnection application can take anywhere between 16 to 20 weeks. Permits, month and a half. Inventory, we will place the order for the inventory as soon as the shop drawings are approved because some of the equipment has like longer lead times. So we place the order a month and a half after the contract is signed. So by the time all the permits are approved, we have the inventory in hand. Like I said, the mechanical and the electrical install will take 2 to 2.5 months. After the install is complete, we'll schedule the inspections. We'll file the utility PTO. That takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and just a final walkthrough and the training. Should be done in 45 weeks, but we don't know what we don't know at this point. So this could be extended, or we might be able to get it done in 40 weeks. So it will take about like a year, maybe a little less. All right. So this is the section with the warranty. Like I mentioned before, it's a 30-year warranty on the panel power output. The inverters come with a 12-year warranty. The optimizers have the same warranty as well. I already talked about our in-house team for the service and the O&M. And then we also offer like a 2-year blanket warranty. So in the first 2 years, if something happens with the system, we will come back to the site, and if we need to do a warranty claim, we will do that on your behalf. We'll get the equipment shipped to us. We'll bring it to the site, replace the equipment, recommission the system, and get everything back online. All right. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. Happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
I have a question about the education piece
Mhm.
of this. Like, what would that look like for our students, since that's important for us with it being on this particular building?
Understood. So what I have seen is like the teachers will take the students up to the roof, and then sometimes we unplug a panel or two so they can see what's underneath them. So basically, we go through every single component that is on the roof. We show how it works, and then basically we follow the system in and out. So we will go from the roof all the way down to the combiner panels. We'll go to the disconnect. We'll open things up. We will show them like what's the size of the fuse and how this was calculated. You know, we show them how each and every single thing on the drawing was calculated. How do we come up with the conduit size, or how do we come up with the conductor sizes? And then at the end of it, we show them the monitoring portal of it, like how much the system has produced over a day, or a week, over a month. So basically, we just show them every single thing about a system. Yes.
The monitoring piece, I think, would be interesting. Is there a way for that to be displayed so that
Oh,
the kids
absolutely,
can
yes.
see
The
how that
majority of
works?
the schools where we install a system, they do have a display of this size, and it just shows the live production.
Okay.
You know, so all the
I think
students.
that would be important for them to be able to see that.
I think Dr. Nicely, that was it. Mass. Which school did we go to? The newer one that had that.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that before.
They
There's like
have that
a
in the
dashboard where students can actually
right when you walk
monitor.
in. It was like in
Yeah,
the
that would be
in the
good.
foyer. Sorry, Joe.
Right.
Yes, yes, there's a dashboard.
It's called.
It's it can be very detailed, or it can be very simple. It's really up to the client how much details you guys want to get into. But yeah, you can have it a display.
I just think that would be nice for kids to see that, maybe spark interest in the system
yeah.
itself.
The Wake Tech Community College where we installed the system, I believe they have like those displays at six different spots.
Well, that's what I was thinking. And maybe you could show us images of what it looks like at Wake Tech, but
Sure.
I was just thinking there could be something that's more in like a central location where everyone
Mm-hmm.
can see it. But if there's going to be a particular class that would be more geared towards this, maybe they would have more detailed information and maybe more screens or something. Maybe
Sure.
it needs to be in a couple of different places.
Yeah, and they're actually, so one of the things we've been discussing is the school's desire to have multiple screens around the building that are tied together, not specifically for solar, just for, announcements or whatever they might do, along with a large video wall on that screen when you come in. And all of those things would be able to display the web portal for the system. So you could certainly make it very visible in that building.
And we're happy to come back and be a part of this class too. We can show them exactly.
Yeah, that would be nice. I think it would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Like
Sure.
HVAC, building trades.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful for sure. I mean, if we're going to have it right there on that site, I think we need to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. And I can share the dashboard of some of the projects that we have done with you, so you can have a good idea, like
great.
what we are looking at.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see what that
Sure.
looks like.
How many projects did you say you've done with Skanska?
I believe 5. We have like I believe 5 or 6. Yeah, somewhere there. I think our first project with Skanska was back in 2022. Yes.
And they reviewed it.
Skanska has not reviewed it. The electrical engineering team at RCCTC reviewed it, but Skanska will represent us in the contract piece of this, not the construction piece, because we can handle monitoring the construction of the solar power system, but the contract piece, Skanska will vet the contract and help us through negotiations.
I hope we see the difference in the benefit, from the county to the schools to whoever considers solar. We were looking at a 25-year commitment of something that was just a train wreck in my mind, and we were considering doing it, as opposed to something that's going to have an 8-year buyback that can give us benefits for years to come. Makes total sense. This is government, this is taxpayer money.
Absolutely.
And if we're being good stewards, this is what we should do, and this is the way we should do it moving forward. And I don't know if we can get buy-in from the board of supervisors, but this is the way to do it, not go after those leases for 25, 30 years. That was just an absolute train wreck. So I thank you. This is a much, I love this idea, love this project. You know, we'll own it, we'll save. This is just an absolute win for the taxpayers as far as I can tell.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anybody else have questions or comments?
I agree. It seems like a no-brainer. We're definitely at a time where we're trying to figure out how to save money and be fiscally responsible for the years to come. Looks like a good opportunity.
I know. And I think being on this building, for me, is important. I think this is the best place to, I mean, we may do other projects down the road, but I feel like starting here is important based on what we're trying to do in that building. So yeah. Anybody else have comments?
Are you gonna put this on the consent, or are
I guess we have to discuss that. If this is something that we all sound like we're on the same page, it could go on consent, or do we still need to allow for some discussion?
Well, that depends on you. What two considerations? One, if it were something that you felt like you needed to allow for public comment,
That's what I mean.
that'd be a consideration. And or secondly, if there were, reservations on any part of any board member, you'd want to discuss it again. But
Right. Well, I feel like we're probably on the same page. I'm just wondering if we do need to allow for public discussion, or if you feel like we would be okay to move. I don't think it would matter either way in terms of our vote.
that's right. Now, if you did it again, certainly Mr. Gagels or could do a brief
Presents.
presentation again next week, and we could take vote.
Do an action.
Like an action item.
I think so too. It just gives people a chance to speak of if they want
Well, I think
to.
it's a good project.
Yeah, I think it's
gives
good
you a
too.
way
I
to
don't think it's
actually
going to change our
share.
outcome, but that might be, I feel like that sounds better to do it that way. If you are going to do this presentation somewhat again, can you include some of those pictures about the educational piece? Because I really think that'll be important, like, for people to see that before we vote.
Do you feel like we at the public meeting need a detailed enough presentation that we need Armgon to come back and do that, or are you okay with me just presenting the general, the general pieces of it and then voting on it?
I think I don't have any other questions, so I don't know that he would need to come back and make the trip. I think if you feel comfortable presenting it, I would just like that piece added in.
Oh, sure. We'll do that.
And then go from there. I do think it's important that we go ahead and take action. Does everyone agree on that now, so that we can do this before the July 4th date? Does everyone agree that that's important?
Yeah. $500,000.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, there's risk if we wait, so I think it's better if we go ahead and do it. So
Absolutely.
I think it's okay to go ahead and do this next week.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you, Todd.
We'll be in touch.
All right.
All right. Item 2.03, minor capital request, Bogle Field scoreboard replacement from the storm damage.
Yeah, just some photographs of that damage. That was apparently some heavy straight line winds over there. Took down the scoreboard, twisted it up. Most of it was not salvageable. The top sign where it says Bogle Stadium is actually, we removed that and saved that piece of it, but the entirety of the rest of the board had to be or is going to have to be replaced. It's damaged the fence that's there. It's all been cleaned up. The replacement has already been ordered. So the total to do all that, to clean it up and to replace the board, is about $67,000. The insurance company covered almost all of that, except the $10,000 deductible. So we're actually, between the time we put this on the agenda and today, the insurance company has already made their payment. So we're amending the request now to be $10,000 from minor capital special projects to cover the replacement cost of the scoreboard, and that'll just cover the deductible.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, if it's consensus, we would like that to go on the consent agenda for the next meeting.
All right, that sounds good. All right, item 2.04, William Byrd High School practice field perimeter fencing.
Yeah, so the practice fields, this is the area on the right, to the right of the yellow line are the practice fields at William Byrd Middle. They were William Byrd Middle and William Byrd High. They were constructed by Carolina Green several years ago. I think it was actually 2007, at a cost of about $450,000. So they represent a significant asset. They're beautiful fields. If you go over there, especially now that the heat of the summer is with us, they're Bermuda grass field that's super thick, dark green, just gorgeous playing surfaces.
So is that the softball field to the left?
Yep.
Ma'am?
I'm just trying to make sure. Is that the softball field? I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
trying
the
to
high school
picture where it
softball
is.
field. The
Okay.
middle school's behind us. That little sort of area right down there at the bottom is the middle school. Stadiums to the, you can see the track,
Right.
the curve of the track right there.
I'm
Is
just
where the
trying to picture
stadium
where it
is.
but I
Yeah.
understand.
And so anyway, those are the practice fields, and they do represent a significant investment. And so they've never been able to have any sort of access control to those fields. If you look where the section of the parking lot is down at the bottom, where the yellow line is, there's no fence there. The stadium fence stops right there at the corner. And then you just have like a guardrail, and there's openings in the guardrail where people can come in and out. So those fields are open to, anybody at all times, essentially. So the issue has become, people are using those fields that are not authorized to use them. So you have like organized sports playing over there on the weekends sometimes, some, bunch of guys playing soccer, that kind of thing. Not high school kids, adults. You have, in this case, kids riding dirt bikes out on the playing surfaces, which obviously is not good for the grass, for the surface. I always tell people grass is a consumable resource. Every time you get out there on it, you are consuming it. Now it renews, it's a renewable consumable resource, but you can't use it up faster than you renew it, or else you get into the situation where these fields had to be replaced originally. That $450,000 was because they were in such poor shape, they were borderline unsafe to play on. Now they're gorgeous, despite the fact that we beat them to death in PE, and then you have all sorts of high school teams using them. You have the middle schools playing their games on them. They are, unlike a lot of our practice fields, these have a drainage system, a lighting system, an actual scoreboard down there, an irrigation system. So these are, these are high quality athletic fields that can't be secured in any way right now. So the proposal is that we fence along that yellow line. So it's already fenced on three sides. So that yellow line would complete the box essentially around the fields. That would cost about $20,000 and provide access control for games and for keeping folks off the field who aren't supposed to be using them. So if the board is in agreement, staff would recommend that $20,000 be appropriated from minor capital special projects to fence the practice fields at William Burke. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Does anyone have any questions?
I don't think it would take long for $20,000 worth of damage to be done.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, as much as we have to spend just to maintain them, fertilize them, all that, I don't see a problem with it.
We are going to spend that kind of money. Hopefully they do get locked at night and on weekends.
Yeah,
and
what would that look
what's
like?
that going to look like?
Well, so first I don't want to speak for the school, right? Because the operational piece of that is kind of up to them. But if you look at the top of the yellow line, there's a gate back there that leads down to the greenway. So kids that walk to school, that would still be open to them. So you could keep the fields actually locked and still leave access to the schools open from the greenway. So, and there would be gates. There would be gates down here at the bottom at the sidewalk. There'd be another one leading out onto the fields for vehicle access, for equipment, and then there'd be at least one along the long length of the fence on that side, possibly two, one on one for each field there. That's actually two full practice fields sitting side by side. But yeah, that would be the idea, right? Is that they have to be locked up when they're not in use by school facilities.
And what about
Or by
posting
school
it, I
groups.
guess, after hours, no use after hours or without permission or some sort of signage, I guess.
Oh,
To
absolutely.
where if somebody is out there riding a dirt bike, then,
Yeah, and we have those at most of our other fields. They're posted on the fences that say, no unauthorized use, something to that effect.
yeah, that way if police are called, then they can handle it.
Yeah, and I don't blame the kids. There's some great spots here to ride dirt bikes, and there's a little sort of built-in ramp, and kids will be kids, and that's why you have to do things like control access to the field.
Todd, what is the little yellow box on the left side?
You can ignore that. That was
Okay.
when these. So you had actually asked us to look into this a little over a year ago, and at the time they wanted to relocate the batting cage right there. And if we were going to use that as a corridor for kids to to walk through, we were going to have to fence off the batting cage just to keep,
Gotcha.
unauthorized use from the batting cage. That's no longer the plan. The batting cage is not going to be relocated there, so that won't be, that little part won't be included.
We haven't had this trouble at any of the other fields that aren't fenced, practice fields. I know Northside's is not.
That's the only one that I know of in terms of, large scale practice fields. Now, we don't have any game fields that are not fenced as far as I know, other than this one. I mean, the middle school plays their games, almost all of their soccer games. They have a couple in the stadium each year, but most of the soccer games are played right there on that first field. So it's a little bit different than a practice field, I would say, just because of the game use and the other facilities that are there, the scoring systems and that kind of thing. We did have the soccer field up at Glenver Middle torn up. I don't know if it was a truck or whatever it was, but it was up there during one of the snowstorms and had gone out there and done donuts on it. Our guys are able to, fill in the ruts and that sort of thing. They just recently had some damage over at Hidden Valley High School at the lacrosse field. There's a partial field that they use for practice over there, and somebody drove a vehicle out on it when it was wet and left some ruts out there. So we do. I mean, anywhere that doesn't have access control, people are tempted to get out there and use their vehicles off road, and they don't think, I hope, people wouldn't intentionally damage the athletic field. They just see a big open area and they want to get out there and do donuts or whatever it is, and they end up doing thousands of dollars worth of damage.
The other thing you have to remember is those are the only, we don't have a middle school and a high school separate with fields. That's it.
Yeah, and it's a testament to the work that Carolina Green did with these, that they can take the abuse that they get. There is no other kind of grass or field or anywhere that you can use like you use these and have them stay in the remarkable shape that they're in.
I mean, they get a workout year round.
Yes, they do.
Tell from the picture, it's a lot of
Yeah, and I think this is an old picture. I don't think this is actually after we had the Bermuda on there. If it is, it's right after the transition, because say by mid-June that will be one solid thick block of green. They're gorgeous.
Okay, are we good? All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You're gonna make that
Consent, I guess.
consent?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you did. It's okay.
The consent agenda. If those board support that.
Okay. Item 2.05, recommended policy updates, Dr. Jamie Soltis.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I bring to you the policies that are being updated due to changes in Virginia code. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there were like 130 some odd education bills that were presented in the General Assembly, 20 of which Governor Spanberger's already signed into law, but a lot of them affected our policies. So we use the VSBA policy system. So these are the recommended changes by the VSBA. Another thing that's a little different is every time you get a new lawyer with the VSBA, they change things, and a lot of those things don't really matter, like a capital S for superintendent or a lowercase s for superintendent and things of that nature. But this time there were quite a few that had substantial changes. So the first one, 6.62 AAR, that first page is review, but there were no changes. But realize by code we have to review all of our policies every 5 years at the minimum. So that one was just that. The second page of policies that you see listed on this sheet are just minor formatting changes. So with your permission, I don't really want to have to go into all the details of those. The next group, I'm trying to figure out a way to make this easy without putting you guys to sleep. But I actually printed off for you guys every policy that's on these second parts, because there were such major changes for the majority of them that I wanted, as I referred to them when I went through quickly, you guys could look at, and if you have a question, I can elaborate. Fair enough? So the first policy, 2.02, is school board member conflict of interest. That was a significant rewrite to remove language not required by the policy. So basically, the new lawyer is, her philosophy is make your policy more general and less specific, and that protects you whenever you get, instead of painting yourself into a corner with certain things. But so she also reworded things to match the actual code. So that's this one. If you have any questions between now and the meeting, you can just let me know. But you can see with all the strike through how much language got stricken out. Right. So it basically all got summarized into this.
Okay.
So the key things in that one are the conflict of interest that you guys have to do as you come on board, and that we're committed to, the integrity and impartiality of COIA, which is the Virginia State Local Government Conflict of Interest Act. So that we're going to follow that. And then there's a training requirement that you guys do that Edie works with you to make sure you complete it as you on board. All right, so that's that one. 2.01 school board bylaws. The biggest change in this one is basically if something gets added to the agenda on the at the last minute, you really aren't allowed to vote on that according to FOIA unless these situations exist.
What do you mean?
So you know how like if there's an amendment to the agenda,
Right.
and it's something that it wasn't on the posted agenda, and you're gonna make you want to take action on
I
it.
mean, if we add it after we're already
Yes,
in
if
here,
when
not
people say, are there
prior.
any changes to the agenda before it was published for the public, then you really aren't supposed to take action on that until after the public has had a chance to hear it. But there are circumstances where you can, and they're outlined in the policy.
Is that kind of like our work session, that we don't take action in our work session?
Yeah, but even in a regular session, let's say in a regular board session, you know how
It says after the meeting commences.
it's actually after the meeting.
Because we do make some changes sometimes prior, but we
Right,
try not
that
to
doesn't
ever
count.
make changes once
I'm
we're
talking
in here.
about
So
once
that's
you're
what I'm
in the
trying-
meeting
Right, I got
Basically,
and
during
you
the
say, are there any changes to the
Which
agenda?
we try not to ever do that anyways.
Right, it
Okay.
shouldn't really affect us, but that's the new rule.
And there's a caveat, unless it's a time sensitive matter.
Yeah, that's why I said there are conditions where
Right.
you would be able to do it. So in 3.01.01 is actually optional, but this is just where I have to file we do have this policy. It's where I have to file my financial interests when I take the job. So I guess that means I'm going fast. All right, 3.08 policy implementation. This basically is just a rewrite to where it says the superintendent makes all regulations available to the school board members. You know how we present our admin regs to you guys? We don't really have to have approval of them, but we present them to you. That's saying we're going to do that. The next thing, threat assessment teams. Basically kind of align the language to what the code said. So basically it's specifying who needs to be a part of the team, expertise in counseling, instruction, school administration, law enforcement, and in schools in which a school resource officer is employed, at least one such school resource officer has to be part of the team. So it kind of walks through that, and then it talks about the training. Basically, training must include specific training on the use of emergency substantial risk orders and substantial risk orders in accordance with the Virginia Code to address the risk of self-harm or the threat of harm to others. So it's just adding a training requirement. The next one is special use of school buses. This one is blue because it's got track changes turned on, but it's the same thing as the red strike throughs. The only thing that's different here is now, let's say we let somebody use our school buses to like bus people to the concert or something like that. We can now recoup the insurance cost part of that as well. That's all that is. Food services, 9.14 was significantly rewritten, but it ensures compliance with the new law requiring annual reporting of meal debt. So we now have to report every year. Jamie Estrada will have to report to the Virginia Department of Education in accordance with guidance they give the amount of school debt in the school division. The report must not contain any personally identifiable student information. So, and it's also in here that you can't shame the kid and make them wear the scarlet letter and not let them eat lunch if they have debt, like used to happen in the old days. All right, so the next one on the list in your packet is, and I'm going to skip ahead, is 6.42A. This is also part of the Student Conduct Code. So you guys will remember we talked about cell phone policies and all those things, and we had the loophole where it was restrict but not prohibit. So we didn't prohibit it bell to bell. General Assembly decided, well, they're going to fix that loophole. It is now prohibited bell to bell. So this is the new policy with smartphones. We'll make sure we work with Chuck to get this out to parents before the new start of the school year. Maybe he and I can make a video where I'm not firing him, but I'm actually encouraging him. But basically it is bell to bell instruction. They're not allowed to have their cell phones out, even at the high school level, including lunch and in the hallways.
Can we make sure in that message that it is put out, Chuck, that it's by the General Assembly?
the law,
Because we
yeah.
did our own
We tried.
polls and we tried to do what our
Yes.
community wanted, and obviously we're being forced into this. So correct. I mean, we agree with it or don't agree with it. I think it's important.
Right. We have no choice now.
Right.
So the other thing that's in here that we did keep in here, but we're going to have to figure this out eventually, is it's not just cell phones, it's personal mobile devices. So the watches that connect to the internet, all that stuff. But we have classes that we're allowing kids to use their own cell phones to participate in, like photography and things of that nature. My personal opinion is we're going to have to figure out ways to gradually move away from that, because that just blurs the lines, right? So if we're going to teach photography, we may have to buy more cameras so that every kid has a camera versus having them use a cell phone. Because my other challenge with that is, what do you do for the kid that doesn't have a phone? Even now, like, what are we doing to make sure that the kid can participate in class?
Do they even sell those cameras anymore?
They
Those
do.
small cameras?
You know what else coming back to Polaroid?
Ah.
So, but like Dr. Franklin asked yesterday at the retreat, well, what about her journalism class? Because they use the cameras, their cell phones to record the interviews they have with people. Well, we're going to have to come up with some kind of way of recording other than the kids using their cell phones.
Well, what about also how we're going to implement this? Like, in terms of, like, there's been, I think we heard this rumor that they were going to make them put them in pouches and things like that.
So there are different ways you could do it. It was not put in code the specific way you have
So
to
we
have
have to figure this out, is what I'm asking.
Yes. So basically, we'll work with the high school principals, because middle school and elementary's already got it. And basically, I don't think we need a pouch. It just can't.
Well, I don't
you
think we
can't
should
have it
spend
out.
the money on it,
Right.
to be honest.
You can't have it out.
If you don't have a pouch or something like that, our teachers are still going to have to police it.
Well, they got to police it regardless.
Yeah, they're
I
gonna
mean, we can say teachers don't police, can't try not to make the teachers police it, but in reality, they're the ones going to at least have to call the administrator.
It'd
And
be a
say.
lot easier if it's at the door and they can't.
So those are things we can talk
Yeah.
about it
But
about
whether
how
we-
we'll implement it
Yep.
moving forward. Because the pouches come with the cost. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
And I'll be transparent with my own son, who goes to a different division. They bought little lockers for everybody, and the kids just keep them in their book bag.
Yeah, nobody's gonna do that.
Now, in his defense, well, he's a rule follower. He doesn't pull it out, but he just does tell me he doesn't see very many cell phones. So
That's good.
yeah, most kids are rule followers, and if you say that's the rule, that's the rule. All right. Reporting of child abuse 3.28. I lost my train of thought. Basically, here it includes now that athletic coaches, directors, and volunteers 18 or older involved in school athletic programs are now required to report as well. So whether they tell their supervisor to report, but the supervisor then has to let them know the agency they reported the complaint to. So that's what's there. 3.2 AR. 3.28 AR. I really shouldn't have printed it because it's saying the exact same thing as 3.28. So there's your tree. 5.25 is school employee conflict of interest. This is basically the same thing that you guys have to sign. They have to acknowledge the fact they don't have a conflict of interest. So, for example, if I've started my own company, I have this company, and I'm paying myself to work in this school division to do the work I should have been doing myself as part of my job, that would be a conflict of interest. 5.19, leave without pay. It's now required by code that unpaid educational leave, that we have to approve unpaid educational leave for school board employees who are State Employee Association executive officers for a maximum of 4 years per officer. Additionally, up to two school board employees who are local employee association officers may be granted unpaid educational leave for a maximum of 4 years per officer. Employees may receive compensation from the relevant association while on the unpaid educational leave. We don't have to pay them. We just have to tell them they can get their job back or a job back if they come. And that's in code now. 5.47 is the professional development. Basically, they're just streamlining the language in this policy for the required professional developments and saying when we can and when we can't. And it just rewords basically the autism training for anybody who works with a child with autism. And then the mental health awareness training is new. So just trying to help people understand the requirements and make sure we're not requiring teachers to do things they're not required to do. The next one is the evaluation of professional staff, 5.10. And basically in this one, it just adds in the purposes and the guidelines of performance standards and basically outlines what an evaluation should be for professional staff. And the purpose is more communication back and forth between the evaluator and the evaluatee. Let's see. Going so fast, I'm getting out of my own order. Number 6 or 5.38, I did not print, but basically that one is basically employee change in assignment. The only thing that changed in that is we can't force an employee who has declined to deliver health-related services to an individual to deliver those health-related services, unless that's part of your job. Like if you're the nurse, obviously you have to do that. And then the only other thing that was removed from that policy is we used to be able to suspend somebody up to 5 days without a hearing before the school board. We have to provide them with the opportunity to have a hearing in front of the school board before we can just suspend somebody for five days.
What?
So
Is that a big change? I mean, that sounds like.
it's just remove the ability to suspend for up to 5 days without a hearing before the school board. So Jessica can probably speak to when you would do that more than I am. I mean, I don't know that we have ever done that very often.
No.
But
I don't think that would make a difference in how we're processing the way we do.
it wouldn't. But basically, legally, by law now, I can't suspend somebody and get 5 days before I offer them the opportunity to have the hearing in front of you. You have a question?
I don't know. It just seems like.
Are you saying that they have to have the opportunity to request one, or they have to have a hearing before that?
Yeah. So if you read the
Because
word,
they don't come before us before suspension.
not
They come
printed.
before us before
Yeah,
expulsion.
basically-
for the DRT first, and then
Right.
it basically says, now we're talking about staff. This
yeah.
is staff.
Oh,
We're not talking
okay.
about
That's
students.
where. Okay.
We're
That
talking
sounds
about
like.
staff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was
like,
talking
what?
about. You can't force them. It's employee change in assignment.
Missed that. Thank you.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they.
That's why I was struggling with that. I don't understand what the
You don't understand, but I don't understand.
No, yeah. And I learned from Polly I have to do ABC. I did not do a good job of explaining.
We have a letter that we give them when we reassign their position, and so we just need to make sure the letter's changed to 5 days versus.
And this is if we're suspending.
Which we rarely suspend. Most of the time,
Right.
people voluntarily go on leave with pay,
Right.
pending the outcome of an investigation.
All right. I'm sorry. I made that far more confusing than.
That's
it was.
okay. So instructional goals and objectives is 6.0. That's basically a substantial rewrite of the policy and incorporated the language, and it also added in, there's a new law, academic planning and course selection that we're required to do. It just added in the language from that as well. But you can see again, all the red line strike throughs, and what's left is this little part here in the middle. So this lady is less is more, is the new lawyer. So the next one is 7.29, teaching about drugs, alcohol, gambling, and electronic devices. Basically, we had to change the title because they added, it's not just, it used to just be drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, but now it's gambling addiction and addiction to electronic devices has to be part of the curriculum that we teach. Yes, that's the, never mind. Filter, Jamie, filter. I did not print character education because basically that was minor verbiage changes, but it was a lot of verbiage changes. I didn't print driver's ed, but basically the driver's ed program now requires them to include reckless driving to be required in the curriculum for driver education programs. So that just is a addition to the curriculum. 6.28 off-site instruction and virtual courses. It's updated language to reflect the change in regulations, and it updated the legal references to reflect updated regulatory citations. But basically, we have a very robust online program, so we're fine, but we have to be in alignment with the Board of Education regs. And as always, we still wait on those until we come out later. You got a question on one?
I think a correction needs to be made. This is the final version, right? Other than the
That's the edited.
so on number 4, the cell phone policy number 4.
Yeah.
It still says during class. I think that needs to be said during the school day for high school, right?
Where are you?
Right here, high school. See, middle school says supposed to be off and stored away during the school day, and 4 now needs to say during the school day, not during class. But this is the current policy during class. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll fix it. Everybody good if I make that amendment? Sorry. Sexually explicit instructional materials. Basically, this was added language from the new Senate bill, which amended the code. It's saying basically the same thing on what is the process for identifying what is sexually explicit, and the fact that you cannot hurt a kid's grade if it meets the requirements and they ask for a different assignment. I would certainly hope we're not using a whole lot of things that are considered sexually explicit anyway.
One question on that, 'cause part of it says, nudity as defined in this policy, and then the paragraph where it defined nudity we scratched out. Is that something we just?
So they scratched that out.
Yeah, I saw that.
As part of their recommendations. It says as nudity is defined in this policy. I hear what you're saying. Sexual excitement, sexual conduct, yada yada yada. They got rid of the definitions. So
Yeah, they need to just take out the reference to as is defined here, or they need that.
I'll do that. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to read. I'm gonna be honest with you. You start reading all these, you get cross-eyed and you miss things. And like sometimes the people that are actually doing the editing miss things too, and then I miss it when I read it for the second one. You'd be amazed how many of our policies when we first started looking said insert school district name here. So it's hard. The next one, the selection and adoption of and purchase of instructional resources. Basically, they just added high quality instructional materials to the list. And basically also we have to assign a high quality instructional materials liaison. That's going to be Mike if it's secondary, and that's going to be Kim if it's elementary. So we have to designate one person. So that'll be Mike. And then if it's elementary, Mike can give it to Kim to see if it fits what we're supposed to do. Basically, that's preventing people from going to like paid teachers and just printing off something that's not even aligned to the curriculum. Academic and career course planning. This is a brand new policy. And so basically, when they wrote that, it just basically says that we have to provide that our academic planning and course selection has to align with the standards of learning, and that at least 30 days prior to course registration deadlines, the division will notify parents of middle and high school students of those enrollment deadlines and provides information on the process for requesting changes to the student's course selection. So it just codified what our current practice probably already is. This one, the next one, is College Board School Day Program. It's now required in code that during the school day we offer the ability for kids to take the SAT. So Sean and Ben will probably work together to figure out with the high school principals when it's going to be offered at each school. But we have to require them to do that. And we're also supposed to set goals on the number of kids filling out FAFSA forms and all kinds of things now. Those are new rules that came in. All right, the next one is part of the student conduct code, and what you'll see for us is like if you just adopt VSBA policies, you have separate policies and then you include them in the student conduct code. We have a lot of things where everything's in the conduct code, but we don't have a separate policy. Does that make sense? So this is the change to discipline of discipline of students with disabilities. And it just basically, Beth went through and looked at it. All these changes, because we don't have a separate policy, are going to be in the conduct code. But I wanted to pull it out because it was so different and have you be able to look at just that. It's basically just making sure we're following federal and state guidelines on disciplining students. And just a heads up, a bill that's passed, but it's delayed enactment until July of 2027. It's not in here. And we're waiting until January. The Board of Education is supposed to give us guidelines, but we will no longer be able to suspend a kid unless we have implemented at least one restorative justice practice prior to intervening with the kid. So that is in code.
No matter what the action was.
That's what's in code. So we're waiting on the Board of Education for clarification.
Exactly, meaning what?
Yeah, can you give an
Restorative?
example of what
Yeah.
that was?
So restorative, it could be a restorative circle where basically Mike and I, sorry, I just don't like to use Mike, but Mr. Riley and I have been in a fight. Before we can be suspended, we have to participate in a restorative justice circle where we
What does that
talk
mean?
with each
Yeah, I
other.
don't
You're having a
know.
conversation about what you could do differently next time, and you're helping them process what happened, and how
Any
they can not
kid
make
in
the same
any
mistake.
school, you got.
But you can still suspend. You just have to do that before you suspend. So it's not like we
Yeah,
can't
and-
suspend them because this is the first time we haven't done that.
Yeah,
Oh,
and-
so
our
so you
schools are
can
used
still
to- I'm
suspend.
sorry.
That's okay. You can.
Our schools are really used to doing a lot of restorative practices anyway. We have a lot of tier supports that we're providing already, so.
But at the end of the day, we're waiting on. It depends on how you interpret the law,
Yeah.
and we're waiting on the Board of Education because you know how all these laws direct the Board of Education to develop whatever. They have to develop guidance that we'll get in January. So then, based off of that, we'll bring it to you guys. Tell you what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah, please
Child brings a
clarify.
weapon to school. You have to
There are
restore
certain
it?
exceptions, weapons and drugs.
Assaults.
That was not written.
You
as
gotta love this General Assembly. They can't get a budget together, but boy, they can dictate.
Yeah.
They can
All right.
dictate some crazy stuff.
The next one is, let me see, where am I? Student attendance. I didn't print out student attendance, and the reason I didn't print off student attendance, which is 7.07, is because basically it just added language for if I have a spouse who's or a parent, who's in the military or a relative, it lets me have excused student attendance to go visit them while they're back in base or back home. So next up is the student conduct code. So basically the major updates in the conduct code, and Ms. Newcomb, feel free to jump in, but are the cell phone policy, which I already went over because that's in here as well, and not cell phone. It's the smart device possession or whatever we've called it. And then weapons and dangerous instruments is updated wording, but no real changes in the implementation of the current policy. And then minor thing like added the word student in front of the header, student expulsion. And then the search and seizure part has edits throughout. So if you look, Ms. Newcomb did a really nice job because she put her changes in green to differentiate from the strikeouts in red. And by doing that, what'd you say? Yeah. So here's what we marked out, right? And then that's the sped part that we've already went over. And then here are the search and seizures. Now, when I looked through it and I read it today, really there's not a whole lot different. It's just the way they worded it. So you have to have reasonable suspicion. And one thing we really do have to be careful of is involving our police officers. If I have reasonable suspicion, they have to have probable cause. So like if I think I have legitimate, credible information and I think there's a really good chance if I search a kid's car, I'm going to find a weapon or something illegal, I have the latitude to do that. A police officer would have to have probable cause in order to do that. So we can't have our resource officers. They can be on standby and be ready if we need them, but we can't have them participating in the search if we're just operating.
They
off.
can be present. They just can't be involved.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for safety reasons.
Yeah.
If there's a gun or something like that.
Right. So it just outlines all that. The biggest point, and we've learned this, we listened to this yesterday when our law updates, strip searches, which I don't know that we've ever had one,
No.
but apparently they said they got calls at least once a week about some school wanting to do a strip search because they knew there was a vape product somewhere. We don't do them. So we're basically saying no. But that was a big addition to the code. So those are the major ones with the student conduct code. Once we have the final format, we'll share it with you. Kevin in the print shop actually puts it all together. And Ms. Newcomb is a technology expert, but she, it's hard to manipulate. It's in PDF. She did find it in Word. And so working through the actual, making it look pretty.
Her husband must help her with that.
Steve. Yeah. I figured that's what happened.
He's such a tech guru.
So just in the cell phone policy, going back to that, because I put it in here twice, there is the exemption for medical for a kid who's like diabetic and their meter is part of their cell phone tracking. So there are certain individuals who will be able to use it. And I understand you'll have some kids saying, well, why do they get to use it and why don't? At the end of the day, they worry about themselves and every
Contact
kid's
your local
At what level
legislator.
is that decision made?
that is made by a
Oh,
medical
medical.
doctor has to
Sign off on it.
say that they need.
It's like a health plan.
It's a health plan.
504 and
I guess it'll be like
The principal,
handicap.
the principal.
We just have to honor whatever the
Yeah,
provider.
they have to be notified that there's that, and you'd have to obviously have to share it with the teacher, right? But it basically says this: any student who, pursuant to an IEP, Section 504, Individualized Healthcare Plan, Diabetes Medical Management Plan, or Limited English Proficiency Plan, is permitted to possess and use a cell phone or smart device on school property, including in the classroom from bell to bell, to address a health concern or as an accommodation or assistive technology support. So let's say I'm an EL student, I don't speak English, I use my iPad or phone as the translating piece, I would be able to still use that, but it would be in that plan. But as far as Jamie Soltis, the chemistry teacher, being able to say you can use this cell phone in this class, that's not what it means. Does that help?
You have to have an IEP.
Well,
You have to have one of these types of plans in order to do it.
Most of our diabetics do, because they have the insulin and the regulations. The medical issues, like the teachers are made notified of the medical plan that they have in place, or if they have a 504, which usually comes with a medical plan, the teachers were notified of that. And so that would just be part of the plan.
The next one is just for nurses. They have to be now trained in sickle cell disease. Then administering medication to students. Basically, this is now required that the division-wide plan for the care of students with diabetes to establish reasonable restrictions or parameters on the implementations of diabetes-related care by school board employees in conjunction with the student's provider. So basically, it's just working with the doctors to make sure, the kid's doctor or medical provider, to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. That's basically the same change, except for in this, the AR, it also includes, what's my train of thought? The fact that they can carry their cell phone if it's part of their plan. Now for a fun one for Sean, financial aid information and guidance for high schools. There's an annual requirement now, this is a brand new policy, but that Roanoke County Public Schools must provide each high school student and the parent or guardian of each high school student with guidance and information on student financial aid applications to include resources, eligibility criteria, and deadlines. And then we have to establish a 5-year goal for increasing the percentage of high school students who complete the FAFSA during the student's senior year before graduation. The division in each high school should review their progress toward achieving the goals, and we will be required to report data on that to the Department of Education. And then, so 6.66A, which I won't, Mr. Riley started laughing because at the retreat, Ms. Newcomb referred to this as Mike's Satan policy because it's 666. But basically, this just is a policy the VSBA's had forever. It's JOB in the VSBA. And it basically is just saying anytime we do like a survey or any kind of thing like that with, think of the YRBS, with kids that includes specific things like might ask sexual questions or anything like that, parents have the right to review that survey and can opt their kids out. And we have to have procedures put in place for letting them view it. And also, what do we do if they opt out to ensure that somebody doesn't give it to them anyway. So that's all that is.
Is that new?
It's new for us. It's not a new policy for the VSBA, but it's new for us. We're putting this in as a new policy because we need to make sure it's the code of Virginia that you have to allow them to be able to opt out. And this just makes it an easy policy, easier to find. So just to be transparent with you guys, one of the things I'm going to have Haley and Jill do this coming year is go through our whole policy manual and try to align it more with VSBA and then bring them back to you guys with the nomenclature and all that, because it is an arduous task for our people to try to find what policy goes with what. I spent all last year making a crosswalk document, and it's confusing. I mean, you guys can speak to it because we get the VSBA update, and then it's a scavenger hunt for us to find where it is in ours. Some of ours have like 11 policies wrapped into one, and I think working with Stacy and Pack and having those two guys do it, I think we have some policies we may not need, right? And I think we also have just an implementation problem because figuring out where it is. So, and I understand for us, if you've been in Roanoke County forever, Series 1 means something to us. Series 2 means something to us. But JOB or any of those nomenclatures, Series 1 doesn't mean anybody to anybody if you've been somewhere else. And the fact that I went to Salem and they had the VSBA nomenclature, they know that, right? So it's all in what you're used to. I know Dr. Nicely's going to have to learn. I think they use VSBA nomenclature in Botetourt. Extracurricular activity notifications, and I'm almost done with this, but this basically says school board employees and school volunteers are prohibited from using social media platforms as the sole means of communication with students for the facilitation of school-related extracurricular activities. So we've been for years trying to figure out, I'm not talking about we, education has been trying to figure out how to make sure coaches are being appropriate with communication to kids, families, and all those things. We are going to Arbiter next year for athletics, which has a communication piece, and it will, with your guys' approval, be the required communication mode of communicating with with kids for staff, because it can be monitored. Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, they don't actually communicate with children. It will be with parents, and the communication about practices and those kind of things will be done through email or through announcements at school and to parents.
And so that's the way it was back in the day before all this. But the problem with social media, we got a lot of teams that have these random Facebook pages where they're communicating with all the kids and stuff. And I guess the General Assembly decided that was not okay. So it's now in law that you're not allowed to do that. That cannot be yourself.
Students will get the messages. They will not be responding back and forth.
Right.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the social media piece. I just want to make sure that students get the messages. Like when you're doing it during announcements and half the kids are at government school or...
Well, because the other difference is we didn't used to all have all these seniors with
senior
late
release.
come in and senior
Right,
release
so
too.
it is hard to get the information out to them.
So that's where she misspoke. It does go to the kids as well.
Okay.
I'm not being mean.
It's through email. It won't be a text message.
Right.
They will not be texting students.
So they're just going to have to get used to checking their emails if there's any consideration at practice making.
I'll get more clarification on that. We'll be meeting with them on
June 9th.
June 9th to go over all.
So this will be for next school year? It'll already be in place? Okay.
And we'll
Well,
let
I guess it
everybody-
has to be if we're not.
Yeah. And we'll let everybody know that too. The next one, I only have two more, is service animals in public schools, Jessica's favorite policy. basically it just defined what a 3-unit service dog team consists of.
Yes.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah, you have a dog, you have a handler, you have a student. It's when they can't control their dog, they can't take care of their dog themselves, so they come with a handler.
Oh, okay.
So basically, the service team consists of a trained service dog, a person with a disability, and a person who is an adult and who has been trained to handle the service dog, which can include the parent of such person with a disability. I mean, that's in code.
Yep.
And then lastly is a new policy where we are required to notify parents within 30 calendar days of the first day of the school year the importance of securely storing prescription drugs and their responsibility for storing their firearms. And we will do that, and it outlines exactly what information we're supposed to provide. And that is all I have. I know I never do a thorough job of going through these, but I try to respect your time. So I printed them all off for you. If you have any questions before June 11th, please call me and let me know. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Item 2.06, 2026, 2027 federal title grants. Ms. Kim Bradshaw and Mr. Mike Riley.
Good evening. We want to share with you our information for our federal title grants for this upcoming school year. In Title I, we have a little over $1.7 million that will be distributed with our schools. It is, just to remind you, Title I provides all children significant opportunity to receive a fair, equitable, and high-quality education and close the achievement gaps in those schools. The majority of these funds will be utilized to pay the salaries and benefits of 12.5 Title I teachers in 9 eligible schools, 8 instructional assistants, a parent involvement specialist, and part of the salaries also for the benefits of staff administering the grant. And the other items that may also cover under Title I are the student intervention and tutoring, instructional materials and equipment, the professional development, school and district parental involvement activities. I think some of you have been to the Title I nights at schools. After school tutoring and remediation, and also summer programs and activities. In this upcoming school year, we do have 8 elementary schools and 1 middle school identified as Title I schools. And Title III, we'll skip over Title II. Mr. Riley will get that just in a moment. Title IIIA is for your language instruction and English learners and immigrant children. And there's a little over $66,000 in that particular grant. And this is to ensure English learners, including immigrant children and youth, attain English proficiency and meet the same challenging state academic standards. And some of the things that we utilize this funding for is high-quality professional development for our EL instructors. We also pay staff to provide after-school or summer WIDA lessons for our L students. We pay tutors. We also pay for interpreters for our first-time L's initial school planning meetings. And we pay for online programs and other resources developed to increase student language acquisition.
Did you have any questions on? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to go back to see what the Title I schools are. Is there any additions this year?
No.
It's exactly the same.
Yes, it is.
And still, and we've talked about this, Williamburg Middle is still not identifiable, even though all of the schools that feed into it are Title I.
It is identifiable, but it doesn't make when we start ranking the schools, they don't meet the qualifications.
I don't understand what you mean by the
So
ranking.
we could only include so many schools in the grant funding. So we rank the schools, and then based on their rank, that's how we include the schools in the funding.
It's not required to be included.
Correct.
So there are certain schools that you have to include in, and those would be your CEP schools.
Well, I don't want to be a pain about this, but I guess my thought would be on the other schools, I mean, you're saying they're free and reduced, I guess, are higher, the percentage or whatever, the 52, 53%, that Williamburg Middle is lower than all these other schools?
That is correct. We usually go with the elementaries first, and we have to go in the rank order. I'll be glad to show you. If you'd like to meet with me, I'll be more than happy to show you the ranking order. It's done by state formula.
Yeah, if you could send that to me in an email maybe, and then that would give me some.
And you should be able to see it actually on the grant itself, which is attached for you all.
Okay, so that's attached to our board docs?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And it'll have William Byrd Middle on there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all of them, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, and then I'll discuss briefly Title II and Title IV. Title II is basically our professional development grant. We use this to fund professional development for our staff. Again, making sure we're increasing student achievement and making sure we have certified teachers in all our classes. So we've got the professional development. We offer reading and writing instruction in best practices around classroom management, those types of things. A lot of our opportunity ready work, working on the portfolios and helping teachers develop lessons that are aligned with those, are funded through this. We also fund if we need teachers to teach AP classes or dual enrolled classes and they don't have those certifications or those qualifications, we'll also pay for those through this grant. So a lot of our professional development, we do use some school board allocated local funds for professional development, but a lot of the professional development we provide in the division comes through the Title II grant. And then our Title IV grant, Title IV is a strange grant. There's actually 3 buckets of money that we spend out of this. It's well-rounded, safe and healthy, and the use of technology, and we have to put it in those buckets. So what we've identified for well-rounded in most of our years past is covering AP and dual enrollment classes for students who are on free reduced lunch. Well, just this past year, Virginia Western has dropped the fees for almost all of those classes, which is great. So all of our students get those for free now. So what we're doing is we're reallocating those. We always do a needs assessment. We survey staff. We talk to principals. We do those types of things. And we've identified STEM materials at the elementary level as a need. The elementary schools need some of those STEM materials. We got Lego cars, those things, spike kits, 3D printers, all those types of things that they would like to have. So the ITRTs at the elementary level have put together a list, and we're going to be able to use the funding for that to help support those programs at the elementary level. We'll continue to cover the AP fees for students that are on free reduced lunch, so they aren't charged those fees, and hopefully open up access for those. In terms of the safe and healthy, we've used that to fund a lot of our PBIS work and classroom management coaching, and so we're going to continue to do that through MTSS implementation, professional development, helping teachers with classroom management strategies, again, creating safe and healthy environments. And then we want to continue to provide our staff with professional development around the best uses of artificial intelligence as that becomes more of a thing. We are working in the instructional hall on some guidelines that we'll be bringing to the board here in a few months in terms of AI and how we want to be using that in the classroom. So those are the 4 title grants that we're responsible for. Do you have any questions on any of them? So the actual grants are uploaded in board docs, and what we'd like to suggest is it goes on the consent agenda for next week's meeting, and we'll have Ms. Clemens sign off on those as the school board representative.
Is everyone okay with that?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I forgot to request that the policies be on consent. I apologize.
That's okay. We can add them.
Thank you. You can put the policies.
Is there anything else?
One quick little thing that I heard from a few teachers. I'd like to see if, and I know it's probably too late to include or even think about for this year, but I don't know if everybody recognized, but I heard from a couple of teachers about Botetourt starting on the same time frame and finishing a week early. And the only thing I would suggest or add or ask is teacher work days that we add. I don't know if we front load those. I know we've got a lot there at the beginning, but that week, to me, to them, it would be a huge benefit. But also knowing that we hear from a lot, from the elementary side, that they just don't have time to do any of it. So I know it's a fine balancing act. I'm just throwing that out there to say that there's a day or two we could lop off the school year, because I know we got plenty of time and plenty of, I don't know if we add, again, this I'm sure can't happen this year, but just in the thought process, if we can add 10 minutes to the day and cut a week out, I don't know. But
Well, those are definitely things we can
but
consider
I
when
just think
developing the school
that
calendar.
that to me, to our staff, if there's a few days at the end that we could give them extra, would mean a lot. And it was funny because you hear it one time, you think, yeah, whatever. You hear it a second time, you start thinking, okay. Third time, you say, wow, there might be something to that. So,
and I think we always go over the 990, right?
We do.
Yeah, I mean it's not her 90 hours.
We build in
plan the snow days.
The elementary's pretty close now.
and so I just throw that out just as a thought, something to think about if it's possible. I know we work that thing backwards and forwards, so I'm not suggesting. I know we're doing a great job with management of our time. Obviously, our rankings, everything bears out that we're doing the right thing. But anything we can do to give an extra day back or whatever, I think so.
The only thing I can tell you from my past experiences is when in my other division, we didn't do as much PD for teachers. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of them were jealous of some of the PDs that our people got. So there's a balance in there somewhere.
That's right.
And giving extra work days throughout the year where they have time to actually get things done. I mean, you can.
That's
one or the other.
Right.
So.
But yeah, well, we can look at any of it.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, meeting adjourned.